how could Shakur beat him if he can't hurt him? That would be my question.
Listen, you don't have to hurt him, you just have to outscore him. You know, Shakur takes a good shot, though. You know, he's a specialist. That's why some fights that he doesn't look good in, because he's so superior. And it's boring watching sometimes. But he's a specialist. He knows what he's doing. He's hard to beat.
I think it's going to be a great fight. I think that I keep mentioning Mayweather versus Castillo. If you haven't seen that fight, watch that fight. Castillo beat Mayweather with the same style.
You know that. You show I'm the best fighter in boxing.
Two skillful fighters, two talented fighters, you know, two fighters that are at a high skill level that will compete in the sweet science.
How you beat Teofimo Lopez? Because there's a blueprint out to beat Teofimo Lopez. Ain't no blueprint out to beat no damn Shakur Stevenson. Lopez don't know how to beat Shakur Stevenson. Ain't no damn blueprint. But I tell you who got a blueprint on how to beat Lopez. That's Shakur Stevenson. He know how to beat Lopez. Yeah, Lopez don't know how to beat him. Hell no.
Boxing greats share bold takes while breaking down the potential clash between Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez. The discussion centers on quickness versus knockout power, slick defense versus relentless pressure, and which fighter has the sharper ring intelligence when the heat is on.
To Teofimo Lopez.
That's a good damn fight too. See, that fight is skill for skill, as good as this fight. But they just haven't been around long enough to prove themselves yet. But skill for skill, as far as equality, to me, Bud and Canelo are equal because when they're in their career, because how accomplished they are. These two guys are also equal when they're in their career, because they're accomplished, but not as accomplished as these two. But they're still equal accomplished. You understand me? So those are two good damn fights and one boxing.
Boxing icons and seasoned analysts hold strong but differing opinions on the Stevenson-Lopez matchup.
Ultimate skill fighter versus a boxer who's twitchy, and twitchy sometimes beats out skills. Sometimes that's the side that can really beat a straight up boxer to me. Somebody who's twitchy, you know, because they don't fight, you know, as normally as most boxers fight. They give angles, body movements, bouncing around like a Lomachenko would done, even a Crawford does, you know what I'm saying, moves different angles and so forth. That's why they can beat a lot of boxers. A lot of people are rolling with Shakur, and I understand, because he's dope. But I don't know who's going to show up what day. What Shakur showing up, or what Teo's going to show up. You get what I'm saying?
Nah, you know, we going to always, Shakur going to always be Shakur. The offense that we saw from him in his last fight was just, he knew what he had in front of him.
It does go back and forth. I'm gonna tell you why. Because Teo, what I do is I remove all the negative about what we know about Teo. I remove all of that, and then I look at the fighter. That still is a good fighter. You know what I mean? Strong, fast, you know what I mean? Explosive, unpredictable, and he can hurt you. And every time he's had to step up, he really did step up. You know what I mean? But besides the Cambodia fight, but he stepped up. So I think Shakur. Yeah, my first mind tells me Shakur. And I thought about it, yeah, I'm picking Shakur by decision, but because this is fighting, anything can happen, you can't count Teo out.
Former welterweight title holder Shawn Porter has leaned toward Lopez, pointing to his flexibility and ability to adjust, particularly at 140 pounds. In Porter's view, Lopez brings more possible paths to success against Stevenson's structured, methodical approach.
Pierre said, you know, the twitchiness, that athleticism that Teofimo has is what would give someone like Shakur problems because it throws off his timing.
Yep.
Shakur is flat out amazing. I've watched this kid. He can find anybody's time.
Right.
So if you give him the space with just like feints and stuff like that, he gonna still pick it up and he's still gonna find it. I got a feeling this thing is not gonna be boring. And
Hall of Fame fighter Tim Bradley took a firm stance, arguing that Stevenson's skill set and ring awareness would be too much for Lopez to overcome. Bradley suggested that Shakur already has a clear game plan for victory, while Lopez lacks a proven answer for Stevenson's style.
Already know the damn rest. Can somebody please tell me how you beat Shakur Stevenson? Please, somebody tell me, how the hell do you beat some damn Shakur Stevenson? I'll wait. How you beat Shakur Stevenson? Can somebody please, on the contrary, please tell me how the hell do you beat Teofimo Lopez? How you beat Teofimo Lopez? Because there's a blueprint out to beat Teofimo Lopez. Ain't no blueprint out to beat no damn Shakur Stevenson. Lopez don't know how to beat Shakur Stevenson. Ain't no damn blueprint. But I tell you who got a blueprint on how to beat Lopez. That's Shakur Stevenson. He know how to beat Lopez. Yeah, Lopez don't know how to beat him. Hell no.
Veteran trainer Teddy Atlas highlighted Stevenson's showing against William Zepeda, applauding how he mixed forward pressure with his trademark movement. Atlas pointed out Shakur's ability to operate comfortably at close range or from a distance, manage the ring, and still land sharp counters.
Shakur showed aggression in his last fight against Zepeda, being elusive while being aggressive. Walking them down, fighting on the inside, boxing well, still being able to counter, still being able to control space, but also be able to go into tight quarters and not be afraid to show that he's good on the inside too, that he can make you miss and make you pay outside and inside. Shakur showed that. That was great. That was great, and people applaud him. I applaud him. We were sitting there, ringside. I was sitting there actually with your sister, ringside, watching that fight. And it was a terrific performance. Shakur showing that dimension, showing that attitude, showing that competitiveness, showing that dog like people like to show or like to talk about, and they wanted to see in Shakur.
He emphasized that this matchup brings together two elite athletes with very different skill sets, making it especially intriguing. Aoya views the Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson bout as a tactical, high-level battle, one where control and discipline are likely to overcome raw explosiveness. While Lopez offers speed, power, and dynamic athleticism, Aoya believes those advantages only matter if Teofimo can maintain consistent pressure across all 12 rounds.
It's a fight that I'm interested in due to the fact that, depending on who dominates their portion of the fight, that's how that fight will go. I don't think it's going to end in a knockout. I think it's going to go 12 rounds for sure. But it depends on how the first 6 rounds goes, you know what I mean? Because I don't think that Shakur is going to come out and try to fight or take the fight to Teo in the first 6 rounds at all. So if he's fighting off the back foot, if Teo can make it so that he's convincingly, or he's convinced at least Shakur that he may have won 4 of the first 6 rounds, if it's 4-2 in Shakur's mind going into the second half of the fight, or if I'm looking at him stealing those first 6 rounds, then it's an interesting fight going into the tail end, because Teo, to me, is a front runner, right? I want to see if he can carry his energy and his explosiveness late in the fight and not wear down. And then when Shakur starts to open up, can you steal some of those championship rounds from him and make it like a close?
Aoya expects Stevenson to disrupt Lopez's rhythm, forcing misses and responding with precise counters and crisp combinations, while Teofimo could find early success, especially if he comes out aggressively. Aoya believes Shakur's steady approach and superior ring intelligence will assert control as the rounds go on.
If Teo comes out and does what he usually does, which is try to swarm Shakur early and keep Shakur on the defensive early, then he can try to steal a lot of those early rounds. And if he does that, then Shakur has to fight in the tail end of that fight, and that'll make it real interesting. If I'm looking at the first 3 rounds, first 4 rounds, and Tio looks like he's losing those rounds convincingly, then it's an easy night for Shakur, unanimous decision in my opinion. You know what I mean? Because I don't think Tio is going to bring anything late in the game, you know what I mean, to this fight. I think if he is who he's always been, you know, he's going to get gassed after like the 7th round and then take some rounds off. And when he does that, Shakur will open up and start to try to pick him apart, pot shot him, and do things like that. But this is the perfect fight, narrative-wise, for Shakur.
Greg Hackett recognizes Teofimo Lopez as a legitimate danger, pointing to his raw athletic ability and natural fighting instincts. Lopez's speed, power, and explosiveness make him unpredictable, allowing him to shift momentum instantly or change the fight with a single shot. Even when his technique isn't flawless, his physical tools still create risk in exchanges. Hackett notes that Lopez has repeatedly risen to the challenge against elite opponents, often showing flashes of brilliance when the stakes are highest. Given boxing's unpredictable nature, Hackett insists Lopez can never be fully ruled out. However, despite acknowledging that threat, he ultimately leans towards Shakur Stevenson, citing Shakur's reliability, discipline, and control over the course of a full 12-round fight.
Sometimes that cross my brain, like, damn, what if Tio catch him like real good though? You know what I mean? And hurt him. Or what if he just out hustling? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a lot of shit that crossed my mind, but I still like Shakur for the dub. I like Shakur for the dub because he knows how to win. Like, he knows how to win. You know what I'm saying? And he's always prepared to win. So, and I think Shakur respects Tio to the point where he gonna train like he's never trained before, because this is a great fight for him. This is probably the best fight of his career up to date. Even though he's been in some great fights, this is probably the best opponent. You know what I mean? And Tio, same for Tio. So when it's like that, when you put Magic and Bird together, it happens. You know what I'm saying? And that's the kind of situation it is. Magic Johnson was nice, but Larry Bird was nice. You put them together, you get a nice game. You know what I mean? So you put these two together, you get a nice.
Elite junior welterweight contender Gary Antwin Russell views the matchup as a true toss-up, emphasizing that both Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson compete with top-tier confidence and skill. At this level, Russell notes, belief isn't a luxury, it's essential. Neither fighter is intimidated, and that mental balance is what keeps the fight so evenly matched. Russell also outlines a path to victory for Lopez, pointing to his natural strength, high-end athleticism, and strong ring awareness. Those advantages, he says, become especially dangerous when Teofimo applies smart, controlled pressure. When Lopez stays disciplined, his power and physical tools can tilt the contest in his favor.
Out in the ring.
It's 50-50. You know, in order for you to participate in this sport, you gotta have a high level of confidence. I feel like both of them has a high level of confidence, Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson, but styles make fights. Naturally, I think Teofimo Lopez is stronger than Shakur. Naturally, I think he has more athleticism than Shakur, and he got a good IQ on the sport itself. But Shakur, I feel like he's a more smarter fighter. He's a more technical fighter. You know, I'm not saying that he's a square or he's just a textbook fighter, but he's seasoned, he's poised. I feel like mentally he's more mature. Like, he don't go outside of the boundaries on taking risks. So a lot of times you'll see him fight somebody that could be stiff competition, and it'll wind up being a boring fight to a degree. You know, that's why everybody was criticizing him for, oh, he's a boring fighter. He's a careful fighter.
Gary's key takeaway is that Teofimo Lopez's performance on fight night will ultimately decide the outcome. He emphasizes that Lopez isn't one-dimensional. Different sides of him can emerge depending on his focus and preparation. When Teofimo is disciplined, locked in, and fully focused, he becomes extremely dangerous. Gary cites the Lomachenko fight as a prime example. Lopez controlled distance, stayed patient, executed the game plan, and used his athleticism and power intelligently. If that version of Lopez shows up against Stevenson, Gary believes he has the tools to win, blending physical strength, composure, and high-level ring IQ. This isn't hype, it's a technical assessment of what Teofimo has already proven at the elite level.
Lopez, he's going to be a careful fighter. Now, just because he's a careful fighter doesn't mean that he isn't punctual with how he do things. I think Shakur, he got a lot in this arsenal that he can use to make him be victorious, as well as Teofimo Lopez. You know what I mean? So it's a 50-50 fight, and it depends on what fighters show up the night of the fight. Right. You know, but if I had to give you my whole honest truth, if Teofimo Lopez show up and is ready to fight just like how he fought Lomachenko,
Oscar Valdez has spoken about how Shakur Stevenson's approach in the ring can frustrate and neutralize his opponents. According to Valdez, Stevenson relies on a highly technical and patient strategy, carefully managing distance, pace, and timing in a way that makes it difficult for opponents to impose their own style or adjust effectively. Valdez noted that Stevenson sticks closely to his game plan, making it challenging for others to land clean shots or interrupt his rhythm. He likened facing Stevenson to a strategic chess match rather than a conventional brawl. Valdez advised that fighters need to remain patient and composed because Stevenson's methodical and precise tactics force opponents to play by his rules rather than their own.
Shakur Stevenson, like I said, it's easier said than done with a fighter like that because, it's not like he's too back from you. He's just right there in your face, and once you throw, he just rocks back a little bit and touches you. Then it becomes very frustrating. Then when you start loading up, then he does it again. He starts loading up at his shots, but just unboxing you. So I would just say, it's like I said, it's a tough one for me to pick who will come out victorious. That's why I go with the 50-50 fight.
What was like the most frustrating thing? You mentioned, Teo has to stay focused. He can't get frustrated. I remember watching your fight against Shakur there live. It seemed that you were getting a little bit frustrating. Like, what was the most frustrating thing you think happened in that, like, Teo, I guess, can expect?
Well, I mean, me and Teofimo are completely different fighters. Teofimo is more of a fighter. Like, he's a ring generalship. He's in there thinking. He's calm. He's having.
Valdez has highlighted that Teofimo Lopez possesses skills and tactics that could challenge Stevenson, particularly if Lopez can push Shakur out of his comfort zone and prevent him from settling into his usual rhythm. Valdez's analysis points to ways Lopez might take advantage of certain aspects of Stevenson's approach to gain an edge. While he hasn't explicitly predicted a winner in interviews, his breakdowns suggest he sees Lopez as having a genuine chance, especially if Lopez focuses on his strengths and keeps Stevenson on the defensive.
Shakur, he's not going to change because Marco said it, because I said it, or anybody says it. He's going to fight his own fight to just win. Doesn't care how it is, but he just wants to win. So I think the important one here is going to not to be Teofimo Lopez, what his game plan is or what his tactic is going to be. But I think if someone can pull it off, I would say it's Teofimo.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you count out Teo, he gets the win. Like with Loma, everyone counted him out. He got the win. Josh Taylor, he's
been proving it. And then sometimes he'll have a not good of a performance in other people's eyes.
Inconsistent.
And people will say, "All right," and it's like Manny Robles will tell me, my trainer, he will say, "You're only as good as your last fight." So if people would see Teofimo Lopez's last performance, they will be like, all right, if it wasn't a good one, they'll say, all right, he's going to be a walk in the park for Shakur. But not really, because every time the competition goes up, Teofimo goes with that same level.
In a recent conversation with DAZN, Shakur Stevenson addressed rumors of tension between himself and Teofimo Lopez, clarifying that he doesn't believe there was ever any real conflict. He explained that the situation began when Lopez attended one of his bouts, specifically the fight against Edwin Dos Santos. Stevenson admitted that he sized Lopez up in the locker room, but stressed that it was simply because he had always imagined them facing off in the future. He emphasized that this was a natural competitive instinct, not a sign of disrespect. According to Stevenson, Lopez may have misunderstood the interaction and felt some type of way, but there was never any actual beef or ongoing issues between them. He also acknowledged Lopez's talent, calling him a consistently strong fighter, and explained that any perceived tension was just part of the competitive mindset elite fighters have when anticipating a future matchup.
Explain the history of Teofimo versus Shakur beef.
I don't even think we ever really had beef at the end of the day. I know we got into it one time because he came to my fight, and I guess he was there to support me when I fought Edwin De Los Santos. And I kind of sized him up when he came in the locker room. But I only sized him up because I always pictured us being a fight in the future. But I guess he felt some type of way about me sizing him up. But I told him right before that me and him was going to fight in the future, so I didn't really understand what was the issue with me sizing him up during that time. But it never was a beef. We never had real beef. It never was no real static or issues. T always been a great fighter, always been a great fighter.
Bruce Carrington analyzed what he sees as Teofimo Lopez's biggest challenge against Shakur Stevenson, highlighting Lopez's difficulties when dealing with movement. While Lopez is naturally athletic, explosive, and capable of applying pressure, Carrington notes that Stevenson's precise footwork and patient approach could create problems for him. Previous bouts against elusive opponents like Sandor Martin and Jimmy Orty demonstrated that when Lopez can't establish a solid base, his offense can become less effective. Carrington also points out that Stevenson's defensive skills and ability to control distance make him a particularly hard target. Lopez's key task will be managing frustration and adjusting to a fighter who is constantly on the move. While the matchup promises excitement, Carrington believes it could be a challenging night for Lopez unless he finds a way to navigate Stevenson's elusive style successfully.
Like, Teo is going to bring the fight. He's very athletic. He has a lot of explosiveness, and but I do feel like when it comes to Shakur, bro, his movement may frustrate him. The only thing that worries me when it comes to Teofimo is his frustration. Like, is he going to be able to work well with a mover? We've seen, difficulties that he had with Sandor Martin. We've seen the difficulties that he had with Jimmy Ortiz, guys that's been moving around and not staying still. Like, if you keep Teo moving around and he can't plant his feet, what can he do? We're going to have to find that out on, January 31st. And I think Shakur, he's probably one of the best guys to, move his feet, be on defense, being hella patient and frustrating a fighter, bro. Like, we got to see what his mentality is going to be like come January 31st.
Do you think that his experience on the biggest of stages, his two biggest wins, he was an underdog. And both guys, ironically enough, were southpaws like Shakur. That play any factor to you guys?
Nah, styles is different. The styles are totally different. Lomachenko don't fight like Shakur. Josh Taylor don't fight like Shakur. Like I don't see, just because southpaw, that same thing will happen. I feel like certain techniques could be used to fight Shakur, yeah. But in terms of like that approach of the fight, nah. Like, Shakur fights totally different. You gotta be able to do some out of pocket stuff with Shakur. You gotta throw while he's throwing. That's probably some of the only times that he's able to get hit. Only time he's open.
Who do you see coming out on top? Shakur Stevenson or Teofimo Lopez? Share your predictions in the comments and explain your reasoning.